Hello everyone, it's Zayden here, and I wanted to talk to you for a minute about my Sonic the Hedgehog timeline playthrough. Let's begin. First, we'll start with the classic era of Sonic the Hedgehog, Sonic 2, 3 and Knuckles, CD, Sonic 4, Episodes 1 and 2, and Knuckles Chaotix. Now, obviously Sonic CD has to come after Sonics 2 and 3 because of the newer model of a robotic Sonic, which then also leads into Sonic 4. And Metal Sonic's appearance in Knuckles Chaotix makes me kind of want to play the game, on top of the fact that I've never actually played Knuckles Chaotix, and let's not forget that it does introduce the Chaotix, which do show up later on. Next up, we have the Sonic Adventure arc, leading Sonic Adventure, Adventure 2, Advance, Advance 2, and Sonic Heroes. Now, as to the inclusion of the Advance series, since it does introduce Cream prior to Sonic Heroes, I have decided to add it to our timeline. However, I probably will only be playing through as Sonic Story on that one, just exclusively. Won't be touching everyone else. As for Sonic Heroes, probably be doing the same thing with just Team Heroes. Next up, we have the Shadow the Hedgehog arc, which takes place almost immediately after Sonic Heroes, with the introduction of the Shadow androids, which at the end of Shadow the Hedgehog leads into Sonic Battle through the fact that Shadow has regained memories. Sonic Battle leads into Sonic Advance 3 through Emerald to Gemerald. So, and since we've already included the previous two Sonic Advance games, might as well add the third one in. Next up is Sonic 06 into Sonic Rush and then Sonic Rush Adventure. Now, Sonic Rush does take place, has been released prior to Sonic 06. However, Sonic 06 has a completely different backstory for Blaze, and through the events of Sonic 06, I think it explains how Sonic Rush's Blaze makes sense. I'll get more into that as these games come up, but that is my reasoning for this thus far. Lastly, we have Sonic Chronicles into Sonic Unleashed, Sonic Colors, and then finally Sonic Generations. Now, as to why I put Sonic Chronicles prior to Sonic Unleashed, since Sonic Chronicles does seem to be fairly standalone, is mostly due to the fact that I like Sonic Chronicles' story quite a bit. Like, I really like what BioWare did. However, since the game did not get the best reviews because of the gameplay itself, it won't be receiving a sequel that it had originally intended. So, due to that, the ending of Sonic Chronicles does tie in quite nicely with the very beginning of Sonic Unleashed. So I'm going to go ahead and put that there, and then playing them back to back, I'm going to see how exactly well they fit together or how poorly they fit together, and maybe it's just my conceptions of the games from having played them so very long ago. Sonic Unleashed obviously has to come before Sonic Colors, and Sonic Colors comes prior to Sonic Generations, which Sonic Generations then references practically every game prior to this game here. So, Sonic Generations is where I'm going to be cutting it. I will not be moving on to Sonic Lost World or Sonic Boom, heaven forbid. I will also not be including, obviously, the Sonic Game Gear games, because they don't really have any substance to them as to, like, add to the story that I've set up here. On top of that, while the Sonic Storybook arc does technically get referenced in Sonic Generations through a line of dialogue, I will not be including that, mostly because it is a standalone series that does only influence Sonic and not the rest of the story. I might add the cutscenes just to fill in that gap, but I will not be playing those games. So that is my Sonic the Hedgehog timeline. This is not an official timeline in any way. This is just how I have set up the games to make chronological sense to myself. Now, if anyone has any comments, please leave them below, and I hope to see you all in my later videos. Again, thank you for watching, and I will see you next time.